Well, good morning, Cam. What?
Never mind.
Do you want to try that again? All right, let's back up. This is on brand for us.
Yep.
Well, good morning, Cam.
Hello. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. I think I'm going to start broadcasting us live on YouTube as long as things don't go poorly. With just internet signal and all that kind of stuff. But
oh, okay. I thought you meant more about what comes out of our mouths. I was going to say, I love the vote of confidence, buddy.
Hey, this is episode 102, so you get what you get. So
yeah, I suppose.
But anyway, you are viewing or listening to the Inner Dialogue podcast. I'm Mitch. He's Cam. Oh wait, I gotta point the right direction. There we go.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So anyway, we don't usually do that. So, but
here we are nonetheless.
Yep. We are just a few months out from a presidential election here in the United States. That's super exciting. And the crazies are out. So, man, it's been an interesting weekend this last weekend. So, to give some context, Biden just stepped down, and of course, there's a bunch of conspiracy
from the race,
theories.
not from the presidency.
No, it's from the race. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so everything is an upheaval. People don't know what's going on. There's conspiracy theories abounding, and I don't know. This could be a very interesting next few months. So, but how have you been?
I'm meh.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying a lot of extra time with my daughter this summer, but that is, of course, because I am still without full-time work. So,
no.
Silver lining is I get to spend more time with my kid, but hoping for good news in the near future.
Very good. So, and I've just been doing my thing. So, getting frustrated with work, and then doing well and not being frustrated, and it's been quite the roller coaster ride. But it's been all right. We're getting through it. So, yeah. Anyway,
good.
Yeah. So I texted you yesterday on the betas because the public betas came out last week for iOS, iPadOS, watchOS. I think Sequoia came out. The public play, basically all the public betas came out. I don't think I heard somebody say they did not come out with a tvOS beta, which,
shock of all shocks.
Yeah. Look at me. This is me caring. No, anyway. But it's been a good time playing with the betas. I have the betas currently on iPadOS and my iPhone. I should say my iPad and my iPhone. And yesterday I took the dive into watchOS. So I have the watchOS public beta on my watch, which immediately my battery life went away. So hopefully that's not a trend. It's doing okay today. I pulled it off the charger a little while ago, and let me see where I'm at right now. I got to remember how to evoke this thing. Oh, so I'm at 77%, and it's been off the charger for, I don't know, almost 4 hours, so not too bad. I'll have to keep an eye on it. I'll probably put it on the charger before I go to bed tonight. So,
yeah.
But anyway, good times.
What are your initial thoughts on the betas? Because I have had the developer beta on my iPad Pro, and I put the public beta on my phone yesterday, and I've been playing with it. Like, my battery life was at 24% when I went to bed last night because I was playing with all the things all day yesterday. But I want to hear your thoughts.
I'll start with watchOS. I'm like, what changed? So I had actually to go on Mac Rumors to look and see what their rundown was of all the major features that were changed. I will tell you that I checked out the Vitals app, and I thought that was pretty cool. I found out I'm typical, so who knew? But that's an app that basically it looks at 4 different metrics and lets you know if you're kind of in your normal. So And it requires you to wear your watch overnight, so because it's the best time to track your vitals, because they don't change as much overnight as they do during the day. So
that would make sense.
Yeah, but it looks good. I think it works well. I really wanted to try the new Photos clock face that they or watch face that they have, and wasn't able to do so for one reason or another. I don't know if they just put a placeholder in there for it, or if it's because it just wouldn't let me do it. Might just be a bug too. I can try it again right now. See if it'll let me do it. Just add that. Go to new watch faces, photos. Nope, nothing. I tap on it and it won't let me add it. So maybe that one's just not ready yet.
Mitch.
Sorry?
I said no soup for you.
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot of photos that are going to work on that watch face anyway, but figured I'd give it a shot. At least see if
just
there's
pick
something.
One of you just going like this. Right in the middle. And so
watch face going around my face. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Totally good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about iOS real quick?
Let's talk about iOS. Like I said, there wasn't really much that I haven't had a time to really play with watchOS at all, and the features are a little underwhelming as it is right now. The other major feature that I haven't tried, but I'm glad is in there, is in the fitness app. In activities, you can now go on vacation and not have to worry about your rings. So for those of us,
leave me be. I want.
Well, I had at one time I had over 700 days in a row that I had met my watch or met my move goal, and the one day I missed it, I almost had a meltdown. So, but. You know, I can...
And that's why they added the mindfulness app, Mitch, so you can...
Right. Yes.
Namaste, mad, okay?
Oh, yeah. So that's really all I had to say about watchOS. Maybe on a future episode we'll do a little more follow-up on that, but as of right now, there's just really not much to say. So watchOS...
Well, yeah, there's... Go ahead.
I'm sorry, iOS. What are your initial impressions?
I like it. I am currently doing the dark mode for the icons just to try it out and to see what some of my third-party apps look like with it on. I especially like the ESV Bible app, because now it's instead of white and gold, it's black and gold, and I just think it looks really sharp.
That does look cool.
And not every app has done it. Like you see GoodLink, the bright red one in the top corner there is still red and white. But I just wanted to see where everyone is at, and so that's one cool feature. And also, like, I have my bottom row split to the edges with a gap in the middle.
Yeah.
With the 3 apps centered in the dock, which I just think looks a little, I don't know. It's all novel, right? At this point, it's just novelty. And so I'm not sure what the, for lack of a better term, the shelf life of that stuff is going to be, or if I'm just going to revert to what I've always known. But for the time, it's fun to just try new things out just to see how they feel. Right. If it changes anything, if it's an actual improvement or it's just icing, what do they say, makeup on the pig, doesn't really change anything. So we'll see. But it's fun to play with. But the one thing that I was really excited about was the reminders and calendar integration, which, again, for the thousandth time, is not a novel concept. Fantastical has had this forever. But you have to pay for Fantastical, and I actually like Apple's calendar app, the way it looks better. And so, oddly enough, I had about 9 days ago started the free trial of Hey Email and a Hey Calendar, which is done by the Basecamp folks. And so I had switched over from Apple Mail to Hey Email, and I'd started using Hey Calendar full time. So again, like 8 or 9 days. And I have opinions on those, especially now that I get to test out reminders and calendar integrated together. Hey Email is the best email app I've ever used. Hands down, without a question. I don't want to pay $99 a year for an email app, though. That's the big catch. For those unfamiliar, it screens every email from senders until you approve that, yes, I actually want to receive these emails. And then you can tell it to put it in one of three categories. What they call the feed, which is where they suggest you send like all of your newsletters, your like the companies that you get emails from. They're like, hey, we have a sale, like all that stuff. And it's kind of like a social feed that you get to scroll through, and you can choose, and it shrinks everything down, and you can choose to click into it to see more. And it tells you where you last left off. And then you have they call it the inbox because it's for important and immediate things. And I think that's just that's my one problem with it. Just call it the inbox. Why do you have to be different? And that's for the stuff that you select. This is the stuff these are the people I want to see from immediately. It doesn't get cluttered with all of the marketing and newsletter stuff. And then there's what they call the paper trail, where all your receipts, bank statements, subscription stuff goes. So you have these nice three categories that you can either manually sort to, or say every email I get from this contact, send to this section. And it's done really well. They have really good features for reply now, reply later. Hey, hide this, and then in 2 days, bubble it up to the top because I want to talk to that person in 2 days. Like really, really rich features. It definitely looks like a Basecamp app. And I've really, really enjoyed it. The calendar, not so much. The calendar is incredibly opinionated in ways that I prefer it not to be. And so that's been sort of the letdown. And that is when I downloaded, to bring this full circle back to the beta, is when I downloaded the beta, I was like, oh, now I can try the calendar and reminders integration. I've been a Things user for a really long time. Love it. It's great. I have a good setup. It works for me. But it doesn't necessarily integrate with my calendar in the way that I would like it to. I have a couple shortcuts for like time blocking on my calendar for my tasks and things, but that's a whole process. And so because I wasn't thrilled with Hey Calendar, and I didn't want to pay $99 a year for an email app, even though I love it, I was like, okay, great. This gives me an opportunity to test two very different systems, because Hey gives you a 30-day free trial. So I still have like 3 weeks left on this to be able to compare them. And I was immediately pumped by the ability to not only have my reminders show up on my calendar, but be able to move them around to complete them. And then they actually have the whole reminders creation interface in Calendar. So when you click the plus icon in Calendar, you can choose event or reminder. And you can choose from your lists, your tags, your priority, like everything that you can do in reminders when creating a new task, you can do in the calendar. And so last night, I took everything that was in Things and recreated it in reminders, and I'm going to run these two systems in parallel for like the next week or so, to figure it out. But I'm really excited about that because I'm a huge calendar guy. Like calendar I check my calendar like first thing in the morning. I have a weekly planning session every Sunday night where I look at all of my upcoming tasks, all of my upcoming events, all that sort of stuff, and part of that is because, I'm a single dad and I only have my kid half the time. And so I have to make sure that everything is sorted and I'm aware of any changes to the schedule, this, that, and the other thing. Am I playing guitar at church this week? Am I recording this week? I have lots of things that aren't necessarily consistent in my life. And so the calendar for me is a huge tool to make sure that I don't let stuff slip through the cracks. So being able to look at one place and see all of my events and my upcoming tasks and be able to manipulate, edit, delete, and create them all in one spot is, I think you can hear to my voice, something I'm going to be pretty pumped about. And so that was, of the beta, that was the thing that I was most excited about at this point, because obviously none of the AI stuff is here yet. And reminders are supposed to get more shortcut integration when the Apple Intelligence stuff comes and Siri gets boosted and all of that. So that's the stuff that I'm most excited about thus far in the betas, is that. Sorry I spent 8 minutes talking about it, but
Oh, no problem. It gave me an opportunity to turn my mic off and refill my coffee and cough a couple times
and not pay attention.
No, I totally got that. I mean, I've been a big Spark email user for a long time. And there's no features in mail that are really getting me excited. The calendar integration with reminders doesn't really get me terribly excited because I have used Fantastical for years. And I actually recently just split my calendar from my to-dos intentionally to try and run those separately. So I don't really have much more to say about that. So
look at us, ever at odds.
yeah, just different. But that's what makes us fun. So.
Yeah, and I know that Mail is getting new features too, but a lot of those are coming with the Apple Intelligence. You know, like they showed, like you can have the filters at the top and whatever, and that is like the one Apple app that I wish was a little more robust. And so maybe these, I need to go back and review what the actual changes are coming to Mail, because there's none of them there right now. Because again, I don't want to pay $100 a year for an email app. Like I refuse. So we'll see. Maybe I'll have to check Spark out. How much does that one cost?
I think it's $59 a year, and you get all the like filtering features and everything like that with it. So, I filter all my email, you know, and probably should be more aggressive with it than I am. But all my, you know, it comes into the inbox and then it automatically goes away if it's something that I have blocked. So that's mainly why I pay for it.
Yeah, I'm just realizing I could set up email rules and just route them to folders and call them literally to feed the inbox and the paper trail and just say, hey, if it's this, send. I might be able to reverse engineer that. And all right, I have to write that idea down or I'm going to forget.
Yeah.
Nerd alert.
Oh no, that sounds like a use solution. So I'm totally down with it. Nothing wrong with that.
I just want to roll my own sometimes.
Yep.
If it's reliable and works, but we'll see. The other thing, and I think I've talked about it too, that I'm excited about, is the live audio transcription and notes, which again, it's not there yet.
Yeah.
So it's a little as excited as I was about reminders and calendar, like the lack of the other cool stuff that they showed, not like, and I get they don't want to ship it till it's ready, and that's fine. But it's just kind of a weird beta season when all of the, you know, quote unquote exciting stuff is not even going to be in beta till the fall.
Yeah.
So it's the first time really where they've shipped betas and the flagship changes are not there. So it's kind of like we're playing with half a deck, you know?
Yep. I actually do know. So
I'm trying to think what some of the other it's all Apple Intelligence stuff. Oh, have you messed with Control Center at all?
yeah, actually I have. And
What are your thoughts on that?
I like it. I think it seems to me that you can actually customize it pretty much the way you want to. It's not restricted to the way they have the page layouts. But you know, I think I'm not unhappy with the way the pages are laid out on it. So I have done some customization. I've added some stuff. There's a newer feature. I have to look and see what the name of it is. But it's called vehicle motion cues. And if you're in a vehicle, it adds like little dots on the screen to help avoid motion sickness. So if you're looking at your phone a lot while you're riding in a car, it'll add some dots to the screen to kind of add some movement to help you from getting motion sick. Because a lot of times the issue here is that what you're looking at isn't moving, but your body feels it moving. And so your body gets confused and gets sick. So if there's motion on the screen, it will supposedly it will negate that motion sickness. Now, I don't technically, I don't really get motion sick, but it's the number one reason why my wife talks about how she can't read while we're on the road. Is if she's looking at a book, she starts to feel nauseated. Because the book is not moving, but everything, like her body is telling her, her eyes are saying nothing's moving, and her body's telling her everything's moving, and it just gets confused and makes her sick.
The dissonance between the two, yeah.
Yeah. So in this case, it should work on the iPad too. I haven't really looked at the iPad, but if it works on the iPad too, I can imagine if you were reading on an iPad and you had that feature enabled, you could actually read and enjoy, using that device while you're driving. But I do kind of like that on the second screen where it has the media controls, it actually tells you like the last 4 things that you listen to. So you can tap on those right away, right from there, instead of having to go into the app. So although I'm noticing that it's pulling my podcast from Apple Podcasts instead of Overcast. So,
well, I wonder if that's because Overcast hasn't shipped, or you're not on the beta.
No, the new Overcast has shipped, but
yeah, I'm saying the beta for iOS 18 that's going to take advantage of the Control Center features. I'm assuming you're not on that beta.
No, I'm not on that beta.
Yeah, because I have actually, surprise, I downloaded the new version of Overcast. I'm still on the free plan. He got rid of the pills.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this later. I'll add that to the show notes.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's a But one of the things I was going to bring up in this conversation about the control centers is I really think the magic here is going to be once we get the third-party apps controls in Control Center. Then we can really use it to our advantage, because we're using the apps that we choose to use, which a lot of the times are third-party apps. Like, I want to know what Carrot Weather's going to do here. I assume something cool.
Yeah.
Because they crush everything else. But like, could you have like a control that just fires off, like, it just opens up your Mastodon client to a new Compose sheet or whatever, have you changed your flashlight and camera? I think on the last show you said you did.
Yeah. So I left the flashlight because I do actually use that. But where the camera was, I replaced that with Shazam, just because at work a lot of times there's music playing overhead, and there's a couple of channels that I really like that every so often I'm like, what is that song? And instead of, hey Siri, what's this song? I just press the Shazam button, and within did I just do that to you? That wasn't me, was it?
No, it was you. It wasn't me.
Oh, okay. I don't see any of my devices woke up though. Anyway, whatever. But instead of having to ask her, now I can just hold that button down for a second, and it pops up right up in the dynamic island, and listens. Oh, it's that, and then it gives me the ability to go to Apple Music and add it to my library. But yeah.
I replaced the flashlight with home control, And what I realized last night was I should have replaced the camera with home control instead of the flashlight, because I apparently use my flashlight a whole lot more than I thought I did. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch. I'm going to take the camera off. I'm going to put home there, and I'm going to put the flashlight back. That's what I'm going to do, because I went to go use a flashlight last night in the dark, and it wasn't there. My tried and true phone torch.
Yep.
So,
what
anyways,
do you
I'm
have
excited to see what
do you have on the action button then?
Oh, that's a whole nother 30-minute discussion.
Oh, is
that
it?
We can maybe
Are
talk
you
about
using a
next
shortcut?
time. I'm using a very nerdy.
Okay. Well,
it's Federico's action button to the nines.
okay. Well, let's save that for maybe another episode, and we'll talk about it. But,
yeah, it's nerdy, and it's contextual, and it's pretty fun. But it's definitely not time in this episode to go.
Okay.
All I will say is that it does specific actions based on what app I'm using on the phone, which is fun. And I'm just starting to explore more and more options. So,
well, and I use the camera on the action button. So, anyway, I don't know that there's a whole lot for us to talk about on iPad OS. Not that isn't that we haven't talked about. Yeah.
Oh,
I have used some of the where you write in where you like take notes, and then it lines up your like it tries to clean up your handwriting and line it all up. And I don't find that it does a whole lot to my handwriting, but it does every so often. I'll just tighten it up a little bit, and it'll line it up a little bit on a row or whatever, but nothing huge. So I could do without it if it wasn't there, but
yeah, in the Mac Stories Discord, there was a big discussion about that, and it was very much your mileage may vary was like the takeaway.
Yeah.
The one guy was like, I write in all caps, and I was like, well, so do I. And he's like, it doesn't do anything for mine. But another person was like, oh my gosh, it was so cool to watch it just tighten up and fix my script. And, so I think it depends on your writing style, at least this early on. But I mean, my handwriting is atrocious. So good luck fixing that.
Yeah. But otherwise, you said you were using the dark icons on, I'm assuming you're using those on your iPad as well.
Yeah. Again, just for the novelty of it, and just trying to see, is this something that I actually want to keep long term?
I will give a little pro tip on the dark icons. I have yet to figure out exactly what they're doing to darken some icons and not darken others. I thought maybe it would be like, okay, I have a solid color and a solid color, so now we can do something with that, because the other icons, they just dim them, for the dark mode. And it's not even a lot. You can notice it if you look for it, but then you have these other icons where it's like they darken, like they'll black the background and just bring out the background color as the icon. Well, my pro tip is, if you're using a app that has custom icons, if you can find a custom icon that is just two colors, that will sometimes give you a dark icon when you add that as your custom icon. So an example of that is I have Delta on the home screen of my iPhone, and the regular Delta icon just dims a little bit. But I went in and I found one, I forget what they call it, but I think it's like their GBA icon in there. It's a white background with just their logo in purple. And when you add that to your home screen, it darkens the background. So it's a black background instead of a white background. So I ended up with a black Delta icon that is not available through the app, technically. So
nice. For like the first 30 seconds of that, I thought you were talking about like Delta Airlines. And I was like,
no.
Delta Airlines. And then I was like, oh no, wait, the emulator. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you said GBA, that confirmed it for me.
Hey, we love to game and it shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good pro tip, Mitch.
No. And a good title for the show. So, all right. Well, if you don't have anything else about the betas, let's talk quick about the Overcast update.
Okay.
We hadn't gotten that in there yet, so I figured I'd throw that in there. There's a couple of things. There's things that I like and things that I don't like. First off, they did get rid of the pills. So does this bring you back to Overset?
Hallelujah.
This brings you back to Overcast?
I've been using it, so I realized I had all my podcasts in Snipped, which I use for clipping pieces of information into my episode. I've talked about it ad nauseum. I'm not going to do it here. But I realized I only need that feature for a grouping of my podcasts that I listen to. And the other ones, like the Adventure Zone or like a Red Wings podcast when the season is in session, I'm not clipping any of those, right? So I was like, I can use the Overcast for free. I'll put those over there. I can take advantage of the smart speed, especially for the longer, actual play podcasts. It shortens them quite a bit, I think. So yeah, I've been using it for my non-informational podcast for probably the last 2 weeks. And I didn't even realize there was a new version until a couple days ago. And I was like, oh, why doesn't this swipe anymore? Why does it not swipe?
Yeah.
What is that?
That's Overcast.
Oh, you just have dark mode on.
Yeah, I got dark mode on. So he's made the playlist circles instead of pills, which I think is a much more attractive interface for that. Just up above that, he has like recent podcasts. So I don't know how you feel about that. I kind of like it, but at the same time, like not all the recent podcasts are ones that I'm going to listen to right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, the circles are much better than
one thing,
pills, man.
Yeah, one thing that I'm not as excited about, and something I really got used to using in Pocket Casts, was an up next queue. I kind of wish that rather than having the queue as a playlist, and I've heard other people say this recently as well, that instead of having the queue as a playlist in Overcast, it would actually be like an up next list or queue that's available in the now playing screen as a separate thing. And that's something that it took me a little bit of getting used to using in Pocket Casts, but I really like that. Because then you can have stuff that automatically adds itself to the up next queue. And you don't have a separate place to go to get to your queue. So with this, you have to exit the now playing view, and then depending where you are in the app, you've got to go back to the main screen and get to the queue. The other thing that's been bugging me, which I'm hoping is just an unintentional, I'm not going to call it a bug, but an unintentional issue, is that if you're listening to a podcast and you have the widget on your home screen and you tap the widget, it takes you to the show notes of that podcast instead of taking you to the now playing screen, which I wish it would take you to the now playing screen, because that's how I use it typically. And maybe this is just a Marco thing where he's like, well, this is the way I want to use it, and so he uses it that way. But that's not it's not how I use it. And so it would be nice to be able to either have the ability to tell the widget, this is where I want you to go when I tap you, or to just have it go to the now playing screen.
Yeah, this is, now that I'm actually like digging in it as we're talking about it, it's a lot different than it used to be.
Well, you know what happened. Have you looked at it?
I read his release notes.
Yeah.
And he rebuilt almost the entire thing from the ground up to make it modern so that it could actually take advantage of.
I think his audio engine is the only major thing that he hasn't rewritten. Otherwise,
which makes sense because it's really good.
Yeah, the entire structure, the entire architecture of the app, he moved from Objective-C to SwiftUI.
Yeah.
So it is snappy, though. It's much snappier than the other app.
And it makes sense, and it needed to happen, right? If you wanted Overcast to continue to be, one of the premier podcast options, he had to modernize the base code in order to start taking advantage of, some of the technologies that are available to modern Swift UI applications,
Right.
So I'm excited to see what, if anything, he chooses to add as far, because he said there's more coming. This was just the get it out the door version, and he has, theoretically shortcut integration stuff and, like a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
The nice to have quality of life improvement polishing stuff is still on its way. This is just literally the bare bones. It works. It's fast. It's reliable. It had the MVP, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what it looks like in the next, 6 to 8 months.
Yep. So I'm a fan of it so far. I think it looks a little cleaner. There's a few little quality of life improvements. I think the now playing screen actually looks really nice. It's very clean. There's been some people, he used to have it where you would swipe on the album art to get to the different features. He's removed that because it's a limitation in SwiftUI. So he's got those buttons at the bottom of the screen now. And I have to say the sound features button down there, I think is a really attractive little button. It looks like a little circle with a audio wave in it. I think that's a really, really attractive little button. The show notes go fuller screen now, so you can read them a little bit better. So he's kept a little bit of the pill design for the actions bar that shows up underneath the podcasts and the lists. So when you tap on a episode of the podcast, it opens up a little thing for you to tell it what you want it to do. So if you want to play or you want to look at the show notes or whatever, that's the one place where he's kind of kept that long oval kind of pill look, but it's not a deal breaker for me. So
yeah, no, I think overall this is a lot of really good improvements.
He removed the ability to stream. You have to download all the apps now, or all the episodes. So that's something that was a limitation in Swift that, he can implement it. He talked extensively on last week's ATP about it. So if you want to know more, that's definitely a recommended episode.
Well, and wasn't it too, part of the issue was the dynamic ads that a lot of the big podcasts use now? The streaming was jacking that up, or was struggling with those.
Yeah, because he wasn't really streaming. What he was doing was he was downloading parts. So he would download a little bit of it, and he would download it as you were listening, and then there was a dynamic deleting happening in the background as well. So it wasn't really streaming, because he couldn't really do that in his app the way, because podcasts just don't work that way. So what it was doing was downloading the episode. And he's like, because it would delete it right away when you left it, because he didn't want to keep anything on the device. When you would go back and you'd want to listen to it like midway through the episode, it had to download up to that point for you to be able to listen to it, and then download the rest of the episode. And so it was downloading the episodes each time you stopped and started listening to them. And the dynamic ad insertion was becoming an issue because of that. So now you just download the episode. And he said too, the networks are so good now that you can download stuff. There isn't really a limitation on that. So you just download it and it's fine. And if you're that constrained for space on your device, then maybe it doesn't work for you very well, but he's going to be bringing some of those features back as well, as far as being able to say, you know, I want this playlist to download, but nothing else. So he's going to bring some of those features back into it. He also doesn't have the OPML export in the app. So if you're leaving the app, he's going to be bringing all that stuff back, but it's just something that he wasn't able to get in, before launch. But a lot of that stuff's going to come back, but yeah. Anything else to say about Overcast?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
Yeah. So it's pretty good value for $10 a year if you subscribe to it. You also can get a lot of features for free if you just use it for free as well. So
yeah, I mean, I'm using the free version right now. Because it's not my main podcast player.
Right.
It's my secondary one that I literally use for like 3 or 4 shows that I listen to occasionally. I just wanted the separation. One, because I wanted to see the new features in Overcast. And 2, I didn't want my informational podcasts mixing with my entertainment. I don't know. Who knows? I might just put I haven't even taken them out of Snipped yet. So like, this is still just an experiment, kind of like I'm doing with reminders and calendar and Hey emails. I'm just trying to figure out which system, you know, works for me, and if I'm being overly complicated and nerdy about it, or if I'm just going to keep it all in one podcast app and move on with my life. So we'll see.
All right. Well, there was one other subject on the podcast, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to save that till after What's Delighting Us, because we're going to talk about The Acolyte. And if you have not watched The Acolyte yet, and you are interested in watching it, we don't want to spoil anything for you. So why don't we do our What's Delighting Us quick, and then we will finish off the episode with our thoughts on The Acolyte. So, all right, you ready? What's delighting you today, Cam?
The thought of it is delighting me. It hasn't happened yet. My daughter and I, as soon as we're done recording, are heading to the zoo for the afternoon. And it's going to be a lovely, slightly warm, but still nice, sunshiny day. And we're just excited about that. And we got a zoo membership a while back, so it's free to park and free to get in, which makes it even more enjoyable. And we're at the point now where we have surpassed the value of the membership. So every time we go now is just literally making the membership even more valuable. Because the membership was like, I don't know, it was like $160, and the third time we went, we surpassed that in what we would have paid out of pocket to get in. So this is like trip number 4. So it's just, it's just gravy. And they have new koalas that we haven't seen yet. So we're excited. The aviary, I think, is open as well. So yeah, just going to be good time to spend with my kid, and looking forward to it.
Very cool. I hope you have a blast.
Me too.
I had trouble coming up with what's delighting me today, because most of what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks is working and trying to cut my budget down. So so it hasn't been a lot to be super excited about, but I did get a new hat that I'm excited about, and I'm wearing it today. It's the Brewers All-Star hat. And I got the one that they wore during the game. So it's black and blue with the logo in white and the blue and kind of coral colored stripe on it. And think it's pretty sweet looking, and I really like it, and it looks great on my wall in here too. So I'm pretty excited about that. So not a huge thing for me today, but I thought I was having trouble coming up with anything else. So
I mean, the Brewers do have one of the better logos in baseball, and it's definitely a version of the Brewers hat I've never seen before. So
yeah,
got to like a unique one-off hat.
Yeah, so my wife and I were watching the All-Star game last Tuesday night, and my wife just looks over at me and she's like, the National League, we really won the lottery when it came to the jerseys for the game. So I don't know if you saw the jerseys for the American League, but they were hideous. They were terrible. You should look it up.
Oh boy.
And that's saying a lot, because one of the major colors in it was orange. So you would think that orange, nobody can do orange wrong. Well, when you put it with beige, it's like, ugh. So.
Yeah, I'm looking them up now.
Yeah, it's not good.
It looks like khaki and red on my screen.
Yeah, it was kind of more of an orange. Almost like a pinkish orange. It wasn't quite the coral that's on the National League's jerseys, but it was not attractive.
Huh. All right. Well, can't win them all, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose not. All right. Well, are you ready to move on to the Acolyte?
Oh, sure.
All right. I don't know if I have a good sounder for that, but we'll go with this one. Maybe this would be a better sounder to talk about the Acolyte. But
I was waiting for the Grogu no, to be honest.
Oh, we could do that too. But well, what did you think? You finished it last night. My wife and I watched it the night of the release. So what were your thoughts? Because I have many.
I think it was just more of the same for me. Fight scenes, awesome. Settings, locations, beautiful. Costumes, great. Storyline, so bad. The dialogue is not good. They tried so hard to build emotional connections with this stuff, but it just always felt like Soul should just be listening to Dashboard Confessional in a corner because he's the only one that had any emotion at all.
Yeah.
Like the main lead, May/Osha, was just, unless she was raging and just, didn't care that any of the Jedi that did die died. Didn't know half their names. Still don't know the name of the Green Lady.
Yeah.
Which feels like a missed opportunity.
Yeah,
I should know her name. I don't know the name of the main bad guy.
Yeah. Well, in a lot of places, they've just referred to him as the Stranger. So
I take issue with a lot of that. I think the ending where, it was pretty obvious that Osha was going to turn. Once they switched spots at May's behest, right? It was pretty obvious what was going to happen. That wasn't the only surprise on the whole show was who the bad guy wound up being.
Yeah.
So credit where that's due. And if anyone did a really good job, a lot of these actors and actresses were not given much to work with.
Right.
I think the guy that plays the Stranger and also the goofy sidekick, he was the star of the show to me, hands down. His helmet gave me like Star Wars / Bray Wyatt Fiend vibes, which I was down for.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they ended the show the way they did with, we're finally together. We're finally on the same page. 10 seconds later, okay, I'm going to wipe your memory so I can go become an evil Sith lady. Like, it was like, what? And then, the Mandalorian gets Baby Yoda. So guess what? End of our show, we get Grandpa Yoda. Like, what is happening? That just felt like, I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, to me, they didn't age Yoda very well. I wish they would have made him look just a little bit younger. Just from the back.
That's supposed to be real Yoda.
That's supposed to be real Yoda. Yeah.
How far in the past is this?
It's 100 years before Phantom Menace, so he would still be maybe like 700 years old at that point.
Okay, I thought it was a lot further in the past.
No,
Yoda's that old?
Yeah, well, he's 900 when he dies in Return of the Jedi. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. But anyways, okay. Well, but the one thing I will say is I was thinking about it last night after the show ended. They made an 8-episode season, and like they've actually set up if they get greenlit for a second season, which I don't know if they already have or not. If they've confirmed season 2, but
I don't think they have.
If season 2 happens, what's left is, okay, this was the preamble. This should have been 2 to 3 episodes of the first season.
Agreed.
And then the back half of that season should be what season 2 is going to be, right? Mm-hmm. We've got the Osha, who's finally said, screw the Jedi, I'm with this dude. The lady who saw her Jedi lie and cover up decided, oh, that turned out terrible. I'm going to do the same thing and lie and cover up to the High Council. So, like, I'm waiting to see how that backfires in her face. But, like, we finally have stakes on the table.
Mm-hmm. And the season's over.
It took us eight incredibly boring episodes. Like, yeah, I don't know. It just felt like this could have been done, like I said, in 2 or 3 episodes, done better, done faster, and then actually told a story and gotten us to a spot where we're like, holy crap, I can't wait for season 2, as opposed to, I don't even know what season 2 is going to happen. And if it doesn't, am I sad about that?
Yeah.
So
I will admit to you that that right now I'm looking forward to a season 2 because I want to see them tie up some of these loose ends. Because instead of tying up loose ends, they opened up a plethora of more. And I don't feel like they really answered anything in this series. And
well, yeah, you didn't get your who's this guy's master, who's the stranger's master, right?
Oh no, you did.
What?
You remember when they're leaving the planet and they're getting ready to fly away and there's this creepy thing in the cave?
Oh, I must have been out of the room for that.
Okay.
I think I went to go.
It's Darth Plagueis.
Get a beverage.
Yep.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. So, which made sense because the timeline was right for Darth Plagueis to be there. It also answers, if you go and watch Return of the Sith, or Revenge of the Sith, I'm sorry, episode 3, when you have the scene where Palpatine's talking about the Darth Plagueis the Wise, and he talks about how Plagueis had found a way to create life. And then you've got Osha and May, who were created from midichlorians by the witches. It answers that question of where did that come from. So there's a little fan service there, but it was a little bit subtle in that.
So are we to believe that wherever Osha and the stranger were on that Iraqi, that was still Brendock?
I don't remember. I want to say
because
it was
where the girls were made on Brendock, right? Or is that not, they lived on Brendock? But because that's where the Virgins was.
Mm-hmm.
The Virgins on Brendock. Sorry, Saul was not my favorite.
Yeah. I think that's where they were. I would have to go back and look at it again. This series really didn't
because I thought the first time
to care.
I thought the first time. Yeah, I thought the first time. Like after Osha was knocked out and he brought her back, it just said like undisclosed planet or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
Or unknown planet.
Well, there was a lot of people that were wanting it to be Ahch-To, and they made the comment, or the comment was made by Leslie, whatever her name is. The comment was made by her that it was not Ahch-To. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's where Luke Skywalker was in the sequel trilogy. That planet
with those weird fish people.
Yeah, with the Borgs or the Porg, not the Borgs, the Porgs. And it was where Rey went to do her training. There's a lot of people that were suggesting that it was that because the planet looks very similar, and she said that it was not. So
duly noted.
Yeah, but Plagueis shows up right at the end there. And that was my only moment of being, or actually, I'll take that back. There were 2 moments in the season finale where I was like, holy crap, they did that. And and Plagueis was the first moment, which that excitement was not enough to get me excited about this series. I mean, it was like, okay, cool, they brought Plagueis in. The other moment is when you see Osha bleed the crystal.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's something that we've never seen in live action, and I don't even think we've seen it in any of the cartoons either. I don't recall it anywhere. It is in some of the novels, but that's the first time we've ever seen that actually happen, where a lightsaber went from being a Jedi lightsaber to a Sith lightsaber in a sense. So I think there's a lot of questions to be had about that, because it's my understanding that it was a lot harder to bleed a crystal than that it took a lot more hate and a lot more fear and a lot of those negative emotions that bring upon the dark side to be able to do that.
Yeah, but she did just murder her former mentor.
But
she force choked him out.
But the struggle for me in this, though, is that it was like a thing that they had to meditate and they had to pour their hatred into it. And to me, there wasn't that moment. Like, she was just really angry. And we've seen a lot of Jedi that have been angry and they didn't bleed their crystals.
Yeah, Anakin Skywalker being among them, at least for a while. But I guess my point in that is like, that's kind of par for the course with this show, is stuff is too fast or too underdeveloped.
Right.
Or like the emotions aren't really there. Like, to me, it felt like a lot of robots. And I get that Jedi are kind of supposed to be like that, but like, I don't know.
But if you watch a lot of like the cartoon series, Clone Wars and Rebels, if you watch some of the other live action series, you get fully formed characters.
Yeah, like young Obi-Wan Kenobi to me is one of those. Like, you are with him, when he's frustrated with Anakin, or when he's trying to teach him, or he starts to lose his impatience, or even when he's Anakin's in the lobby, he's like, "You are the chosen one." Like, you're like, okay, this is a real human. It's like super feeling all the things.
Yeah,
as opposed to the Green Lady, who I think hasn't had an emotion in her life.
Venestra, I think is her name. I have to go back and
I don't know. I
might
don't
have that wrong.
Like, she did absolutely nothing for me.
Well, she supposedly is the only character in this series that shows up in the earlier novels, from the High Republic. So there's a little bit of continuity there, but I don't really know anything about her to tell you if it's good, a good portrayal of her or not. So, and they're playing with a lot of odd timing issues and stuff like that, where some of the characters, their species live a lot longer, and so there's a lot of kind of timing weirdness with that. So, but you're right. Didn't care about any of the characters really. I felt like so much of it fell flat. There's so many things in this show that were just like, okay, it's hand wavy. I'm gonna just kind of come along for the ride and see where you go. And I didn't not enjoy the series, because there were a lot of things that were really good, fun things to take away from it. but the storyline was not one of those things.
Yeah.
I think this really could have used a little bit of guidance from Dave Filoni and some of the others that weren't involved in this show. So I'm not sure, honestly, who was involved outside of the main director and creator, and because they when they were doing their press for it, they totally botched that too, by the way. But when they were doing their press for it, like, there's only like a handful of people that were really talking about this show. There's two words that come to mind too often for me when it comes to Star Wars shows like this, and that's missed opportunity. And I feel like it completely applies to this show. Like, this is a huge missed opportunity for season 1 of The Acolyte. Mm-hmm. They could have taken the story that they told here, condensed it down into 2 episodes, and then, even if you wanted to do like a 2-hour premiere or like a 2-episode arc that aired on the first night, and take that and then make a show out of it. Mm-hmm. Don't kill everybody. You know, give us a chance to get to know these characters so that we care about them. Instead, they took like this weird, like Game of Thrones approach where everybody has to die and you don't have any idea where anything's going.
My counterpoint to that would be still kill everybody, but do it in 2 episodes. So because we don't care after 8.
Right.
We're not going to care after 2, but take the characters that we should care about forward for episodes 3 through 8. You know what I mean? Because guess what you accomplished? You just took a short story and stretched it too far.
Yeah. And
you didn't hit on any of us caring about 85% of the characters. Mm-hmm. You know?
The more I think about it, the more what I wish they would have done, the 2-hour season premiere, you know, whether they did it in a 2-episode arc or whatever, but drop both episodes the first day. Make this a 10-episode series so that you got like 9 more weeks of content. And now what we do is we delve into what I think season 2 is going to be, and what I hoped this series was going to be in the first place, was an exploration of the Sith and what goes on their side of the battle, and make them sympathetic characters to a certain degree. Let's learn about Plagueis. Let's learn about the Stranger and their relationship, because here's what what I think should be done in the second season is that in the Sith, when you have the rule of 2, if the Stranger is taking on an apprentice, Plagueis needs to be fearing for his life, because what's supposed to happen at this point for the Stranger to take on an apprentice is he has to kill his master. Mm-hmm. So to make room for the apprentice. So what needs to happen in the next season is to have that conflict, have the Stranger and Plagueis have to duke this out. And the Plagueis obviously kills him, because otherwise we wouldn't have Plagueis and Palpatine later.
Yeah.
But explore all of that. Explore the rule of 2. Explore the evil, or not. I wouldn't even say evil. I really, the more I've learned about the Sith, the less you look at it as evil, and the more you look at it, you can look at it as sympathetic characters. You can look at it from you can look at the galaxy from a different point of view, because really, when you watch the prequel trilogy, the problem in the prequels is there's too many Jedi, and they've gotten lazy and comfortable. And so when you tell a story from the Sith point of view, why not point that out? Why not look at it and say, well, you know, they've gotten lazy. They've taken on the role of generals. You know, they're supposed to be peacekeepers, but really they're just causing more war. and start to point out some of the hypocrisy that is going on within the Jedi at that time. And I think that would have been such a powerful direction to go with this series. And it's what I was hoping for. But one thing that I've learned over the years watching Star Wars, and I think the prequels were my first interaction with this idea, is that they do not want to go that deep. They don't want to sully the name of the Jedi to get a better story, because they're supposed to be the good guys,
Yeah. But, life is often not cut and dry that way.
Yeah.
Everyone's got some gray in them.
Mm-hmm. And understand that, I'm all for the good guy. I'm all for the good guy winning in the end, but give me some conflict. Give me a reason to think that maybe it might not happen this time.
Yeah, or the fact that the bad guy isn't 100% pure evil.
Mm-hmm.
That there is conflict in their hearts and their minds, but they also oftentimes see themselves as doing the right thing, and that they're being oppressed by, in this case, the Jedi. And that was one of the things I liked about one of the scenes in the Acolyte where I think it might be the first time that Saul and the stranger are fighting, and he's like, I just want to be free to use my powers in my own way, which is such a modern American, you do you, boo sort of vibe, right. But like, we've never seen it in Star Wars put that way. Like, you're so oppressive, your rules are so stringent. I just want to be able to express my power the way that I want to do it. And to your point, like, that was an insight into, like, this guy's like, I've done it your way and it doesn't work for me, and so he of any of the characters in the show was the only one that felt any sort of introspection or emotional conflict in himself, especially when he was talking with Osha, and like, he just seems like a dude, like a real person.
Yeah.
And he's like the only one in the show that does.
Yeah.
So,
and we see a little bit of the Sith stuff in this series, just a hint of it. The idea that those ideas that, I just want to be able to do things the way I want to do them. But you see that a little bit with Osha and with May as well, is just this idea, like this difference between, well, I want to do it the right way and I just want to do it my way. And you can judge whether, what's right and what's wrong and, all that kind of stuff. But that's the essence of what this show should be. But now let's take it to the side of the Sith. Let's go into those conversations and those situations where Plagueis is teaching the stranger. Plagueis is helping him to understand. Maybe Plagueis kills the stranger and takes on Osha and tries to teach Osha, and she has conflict about what they're doing. And, maybe there's more that we can learn and more that we, I really want to see this series. I wanted to see this series go into an area that we hadn't seen before. And in some ways it did, but not to the extent and not to what that I wanted it to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
one last comment from me on this. The stranger's lightsaber might be the coolest one I've seen yet.
Yeah, with the little dagger hidden
when
inside.
He detaches it and he's got the short sword.
Yeah.
And then he puts it back. It's just, that's cool. Yeah. I really like that.
I don't know
and
how.
him like throwing them and controlling them and putting, that was pretty sick.
Yeah. But you had those. I think that was one of the things that I really did like about this series, is that it did not shy away from kung fu. Like good kung fu.
Oh yeah, no, the fight scenes were, especially this last episode, that final showdown between, like, they did the whole like floating thing and the on the ground, like, it was Really cool.
It reminded me of a mix between Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and like the fight scenes that you see in the prequels, like that final fight scene with Obi-Wan and Anakin, like just the speed of the sabers and the I mean that's the kind of stuff that it reminded me of, and that got me excited.
Yeah, they were really well done.
Mm-hmm.
But I think so. The takeaway for me is like if plotline and dialogue is everything, you can have a really, really good low budget movie that wins a bunch of awards if its plotline is good, if its dialogue is good, if its characters are believable. It doesn't matter how nice the sets are. This obviously had a huge production budget because, like I said, the sets, the locations, the fight scenes, the choreography, like everything on the production side was done incredibly well. But it was let down by the story and the lack of emotional integration into the characters. It's just like, if you shoot a really great movie and the audio sucks, well, you've lost everyone.
Yeah.
So I would have much rather had a better story and lower production value.
Agreed.
That's my takeaway.
I think
but I certainly appreciated the production value.
Yeah, I think that's the where I use the term missed opportunity. That's where the missed opportunity was. Is this could have been so much better, but it is also kind of a Star Wars thing, the writing and the story don't always seem to take first place, but the production value and all that stuff seems to be like the most important part. And it's sad, unfortunately every so often it rears its head like this. So.
Yeah. But I mean, like I look at all of the other Star Wars shows that I've seen all the live action ones, all the live action movies. I've seen 60% of Clone Wars. Like, I think this one and the Book of Boba Fett are the only ones that really kind of. I thought Ahsoka was good. I thought Andor was really good. I thought Obi-Wan was good. Obviously, The Mandalorian. So, this also could be, and my hope is like I went back and you watch like shows that wound up being like phenomenons, like Lost. You go back and watch the first season of Lost. It's pretty slow. But they're establishing.
They were doing a lot of world building. Yeah.
Yeah, and my hope is because as the show ended, I was like, okay, now we know who the real players are. We have gotten all the pawns off the table. We know who the players are. We've got Osha and the Stranger, and then now Plagueis, which I missed, and then Yoda and the Green Lady,
Venestra, I think.
Yeah, and them lying to the Grand Council. And like, there's a struggle there. So like, now we know who the real players are and who we need to be invested for going forward. So from that regard, they did accomplish a goal. We just obviously didn't like how they got there.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair way to put it. Oh, yay, Star Wars.
Yep. I mean, it was worth watching. And I felt the same way about the Book of Boba Fett. Like, I'm glad I watched it. I think that they could have ended it after, I think it was episode 6 that they finished the Boba Fett storyline, and before they went into essentially Mandalorian season 2.5. But at the same time, like, you wouldn't have gotten the end of that. They almost kind of had to bring the Mandalorian into it to legitimize him as the crime boss on Tatooine and taking over the Hutt's position. So you kind of needed that to finish that off. But you could have done a lot less with the Mandalorian in that season. And I think that's one of the major critiques of that show. But if you look at it as a nice supplement to the Mandalorian series, I think it was a nice supplement to it. I don't think it's something that stands on its own as its own series. So,
yeah, agreed.
Oh, cool. Doesn't make me any less of a fan of Star Wars, though. So,
well, a conversation that we had probably a month or two ago, you were very much on the fence about that. So I'm glad that it didn't compromise your ability to enjoy something that you clearly love. So,
I will tell you that when it comes to The Acolyte, this is a series that I had the most hope in. This is a series that I thought could be really, really good. And now that we're on the other side of it and we've seen what they've come out with. I'm going to reserve my judgment until I see a season 2 or season 3 and see where they go from here, if they go anywhere else. But if this is it, this is the worst Star Wars that they've had out. I don't have any issue saying that. And I saw a comment from somebody saying, "Oh, it was the Star Wars Theory on YouTube said that this series made him miss Ryan Johnson." So I was waiting to see if you were going to get that one or not.
Yeah,
but so I'm hoping that they go somewhere with this that makes it worth sitting through the first season here. But if they don't, I think we can just kind of forget about The Acolyte and move on.
Yeah. Do we have any more live action shows coming this year?
The Skeleton Crew is supposed to be coming out the end of the year. That's the one with Jude Law. I don't know a ton about the series outside of it's him with a bunch of kids that he's trying to get out of a situation, or they're trying to rescue him from something. But beyond that, there's not a ton of information out there. They have put some images out, and they've got a little bit of marketing that's come out about it, but I think that's slated to come out in December.
Oh, okay. So we got a while.
Mm-hmm. But that one could be good.
Cool.
There's not a lot of hype around it yet, which is always a good sign when it comes to Star Wars, I think. Low expectations always breed a good show. So, but we'll see. That one's supposed to take place back in the time of the Mandalorian and Ahsoka, and around that time. So it may or may not tie into the greater storyline that they're working with the Thrawn storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're going to see Thrawn or any of that in this show, but I think it's been rumored that what they're doing is that they're building to a movie very similar to the Infinity Saga in Marvel, where it's going to be the Mandalorian, it's going to be the guys from the Ahsoka series, and all of them coming against Thrawn and the army that he's amassed with the witches from Dathomir. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting. We'll see where that goes. But the Night Sisters. Sorry, I forgot the term. But I think we need another season of Ahsoka before that, because we need Ahsoka to get back to the main galaxy. We also need to find out what's going on that planet. It sounds like they've recast Balin, or at least talked about recasting Balin.
Yeah, because Ray Stevenson died.
Yeah. So it sounds like they're working on all that stuff, because there's been some rumors about them recasting that role and being able to move forward with that. So hopefully we'll see a new season of Ahsoka soon. There's a new season of Mandalorian, which I'm not sure what the timeline is as far as when they're gonna release that, but it sounds like it's going to be the final season of the Mandalorian. So
yeah, I just saw that season 2 of Andor is going to be the final season. They're only doing a 2-season run with that.
Yeah, and that's
so that
fine.
Should lead right in.
Yeah, it's supposed to lead right into Rogue One.
Into Rogue One.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Star Wars nerdery complete.
All right. Love it. Always fun. So on other TV news, and we'll wrap up this episode here shortly, but on other TV news, we are looking, they did finally announce new episodes of Severance, or a new season of Severance is coming. I think they might have announced Silo is coming. I think that's all, I don't know for sure, but I think it's all supposed to be sometime next year.
Yeah, because I think they wrapped Silo season 2 just like a couple months ago, so they got to do all the post-production and editing. And
well, that's not outside of the realm of possibility that we'll see it later this year then.
Yeah, I think it might be like a late fall, winter release.
Yeah. So excited about that.
Yes.
Did you get a chance to see Dark Matter?
No, I haven't. I don't have. I'm limiting my subscriptions right now, so I think once like Silo drops, then I'll do Apple TV Plus for like 2 months and watch all the stuff that I've missed.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's definitely on the to watch list.
Right on. All right, well, we can wrap her up for this week. If you are looking to find out more about us or subscribe to the podcast, you want to use our feedback form there, you can check out innerdialogue.show. That'll get you all the back episodes and that feedback form. So that'll email us and let us know if you've got a comment, question, something going on you want to tell us about. We can talk about it on the show. It'd be great. If you want to find out more about me, you can check me out at mitchcraig.online. And Cam, where can people find you?
CamBrennan.com.
Awesome. And I think I'm losing my voice. Either that, I'm going through puberty again, which would be weird. So, just my voice has been cracking. Anyway, that's what talking about Star Wars does to me. But
no comment.
All right. Well, Cam, it's been fun once again. We'll be back here in a couple weeks to talk about more stuff.
Wow, way to sell it, Mitch.
Well, I can tell you what we're not talking about. We won't be talking about politics. I can guarantee that. So, indeed. Cam, it's been good. You have a wonderful rest of your day, sir.
You too.
All right. Peace.